Welcome to our next episode of Post Status Business Spotlights. And today I am lucky to be able to talk to Gabriel Koen, who is the VP of Engineering at PMC. Hi, Gabriel. So good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here and taking the time to talk to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I'm the head of technology at PMC, oversee our engineering team, which includes DevOps, data privacy, a bit of security, things like that. And I've been at PMC for about 12 and a half years now. So started there as a developer and have been through various stages of growth with the company ever since. PMC is a media company, so we own and operate a number of brands. Traditionally our portfolio has kind of been in the entertainment and music sphere. So Variety and Deadline were two of our earlier sites or earlier acquisitions that kind of got us in on that track. And then now we have a ton of other like jaw-dropping, in my opinion, names in our portfolio like Billboard and Rolling Stone and places that I've always dreamed that I would get to work on sites like that. So it's been an interesting 12 years being here.
So, like, literally living the dream as far as WordPress websites go. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of doesn't get any better than that, really. It's like, so built with is a thing, right? We all go to builtwith.com. We're like, ooh, where's this website built out of? And if we could, sometimes we can tell it's WordPress right off if we recognize a theme or something like that. What plugins are they using? That kind of thing. There's actually a Chrome add-on for that now. And so I'll land on a website, I'll click that button, then I'll wait and watch it spin and be like, aha, I knew it.
I use that a lot for our M&A. So I'm always like, okay, so this company we're looking at are we gonna have to do a migration? Is it gonna be from another CMS? Are we gonna get to go from WordPress to WordPress? What does this look like?
Yeah, exactly. And also like, oh, can I sell them this plugin or that plugin? Because I mean, I'm in the plugins business, right? Like,
Sure.
what are they using for their LMS right now? And how can I convince them to replace it with something better? So all of that. That's awesome. I love that you get to work with some pretty cool websites because I mean, in my day, I built a really cool website called Lily's Poop Patrol. And it was a company that literally, like, you don't want to pick up your backyard, they will come by and pick up your backyard. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm sorry,
Wow.
folks. You can't go. It would compete with the Vanity Fair site for sure. Vanity site. It was way better than Billboard. I'm just kidding. I am very excited that you get to do some really cool stuff, and I just got to talk about dog poo. But anyway, that's very cool. You and I had
I could use that service though.
I know, right? I have kitty litter at my house. That's all I deal with. I don't have to worry about the yard. But yeah, no, I mean, what's really cool about WordPress is that it really fits almost every niche, right? So it's like if you are a small local business that just picks up after people's dogs, or you are a worldwide, well-known organization, magazine, all of that, you could be on WordPress and have this. People log in, they basically see the same dashboard. It's always going to be a little different because there's different plugins, etc. But we know a WordPress dashboard when we see it, and that's super cool.
Yeah, and that's also true with a lot of our editorial stuff, right? It's like basically everybody's used WordPress at some point in their lives, so it's very intuitive, easy for people to pick up, which helps us out across the board for sure.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. That's so cool. I love that. Now, you and I had a conversation the other day, just kind of a get to know you and kind of just meet each other kind of thing on Zoom. And you were telling me a lot of really cool things about your company, and the amount of diversity and inclusion that is built in at PMC. And I just kind of wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that too, because I mean, if I was going to work for a company, I know that I'm looking for a company that has inclusion at its heart. So tell us a little bit about some of the ways that you all make sure that it's not just a homogeneous group of people.
Thanks. Yeah, it's actually something that that I'm really passionate about, but what's even more exciting is all of the leadership at the company is very passionate about it. And it's certainly as the profile of brands that we operate and work with has grown, we've also realized, hey, we need to do better. and we need to make sure that we as a company are doing better. And as a company, that means all of our brands, all of the,
Mhm.
across the entire spectrum of PMC. Um, and I was also in that awkward position whenever I don't know, a few years back as our team was just starting to grow, where I was like, oh, the majority of our team are white men. Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. so
Exactly.
um so it's been on our minds for a while, and it's like I would say that we've done a lot of things over the last 3 to 4 years that have really helped our team become more normalized in terms of the overall makeup.
Mhm.
Um, so some of those, it really starts with our recruiting and job descriptions. That was one of the first areas that we put a lot of attention to. Um, so we're realizing the first thing we have to do to get a more diverse workforce is to make sure that we're inviting more diverse people to talk to us and to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so part of that was just making sure that we were using better language in our job descriptions, making sure that we
Mhm.
were also telling people what some of our processes around hiring within that description, so that they knew right off the bat if whether they wanted to apply here or not. um, and then putting some of those practices in place. Like, one of the other changes we made in addition to that language was in our hiring process. We never want to have a situation where it's just one person in charge of hiring who is going to just naturally, through implicit bias, gravitate towards hiring more people that they're familiar with and comfortable with, which tend to
Mhm.
look like them, act like them.
Right.
um, so one of the first things we did was get more people in the mix, and that helps not only with diversity, but also helps to give more opportunities to people on the team, because people like being involved in that type of thing, I found.
Mhm.
um, and also just helped us, on the pragmatic side of things, really just helped us get a better sense of candidates and their strengths and weaknesses, and the skills and so forth. So uh, from there, the other thing that we sort of did that was inward facing, was made sure that we had a really good career ladder. So just a way
Mhm.
to for everyone on the team to sort of see uh, you know what their path forward is, and to make sure that they felt comfortable that if someone's a senior engineer, that they're basically on the same path and same track as someone else who's a senior engineer on the team.
Mhm.
And another important element of that was making sure that there was a clear distinction between progression versus management, and you don't necessarily
Mm.
need to have one to do the other here.
Yeah.
um, and all of that we found also really helps with just the general equity inclusivity of the team, because people feel more comfortable, and we've kind of got a very open environment anyway within our team culture, where um, while there's obvious hierarchy and reporting structure, it's our EVP of the department, meets every single new employee, works
Mhm.
on every single annual review with them. And so people, who might be very early on in their career or might have been at PMC for 10 years, all
Mhm.
feel equally comfortable going to leadership and crossing levels. And I think that also helps as well, because there's just kind of a general sense of safety and comfort that we try and foster within the
Yeah.
team.
I love
Uh,
that.
and one thing that I've really kind of found with our diversity efforts, before I'll stop bloviating for a bit, um, is we've there's not a single big smoking gun. There's not like one thing where we can do it and call it done.
Right.
And it's a lot of little things, and each one of those little things may not do much, but cumulatively they've all added up. and
Mhm.
uh and now we have a team that I'm really frankly proud of, in terms of not only the skill level and what they bring and the community involvement in our team, but also just in the diversity of the team, and the way that uh, our team is more reflective of the makeup of our editorial, of our readers, of everyone
Mhm.
across the board, rather than being more of a smaller, inclusive, exclusive group.
Absolutely. One of the things you and I talked about last week, because we were talking a lot last week about DEI, we're talking about, inclusion and things like that. And my project, the underrepresented in tech.com that I do with Allie Nimmons, was something, and I remember sharing with you, and you were like, oh my God, we already do that, which was my daughter, who is a biracial woman, works for a company, and she does a lot with DEI. And I was talking to her about it, and she said, don't forget the B, DEIB. And I was like, okay, color me embarrassed, but what does the B stand for? And she's like, belonging. It's not enough to just get inclusiveness, but you have to give people a sense of belonging. And it sounds to me like what you're doing with that level of comfort, with the not just including people, but making, in a comfortable place, an environment where everybody can share and be valued, brings that sense of belonging. And so it sounds to me like you're all doing a really good job.
Yeah. One of the things that we've done on that front that's also really helped and helped with the feeling of not only support, but being a safe space, and feeling like you have people you can come to and collaborate with, whatever it is, whether it's on work issues or personal issues, or wherever you might feel it might be. So whenever our she's not new anymore, she's been here for about 5 years, our EVP of product and technology started, one of the first things she did to help foster that was started up a women's group within our team. And that allowed basically the women on the team, whether they're product managers or engineers or whatnot, to have a place where they could speak and where they could be free and talk about just the challenges that they have, because we're not perfect here, and we're also succumb to challenges that people get from outside of our environment, right?
Sure.
That
Yeah.
come into the workplace, or that are plaguing people from other areas. And we're able to kind of provide an atmosphere where people are able to get better support. And so that group, they bring in speakers, whether it's in technology or just other things around work-life balance and how to navigate being in tech as a woman. And that has been phenomenal for our team as well. So doing efforts like that has also, I think, really helped with the sense of belonging. And I would feel weird saying that aloud, except for the fact that I've seen these changes, in play over the last 12 years. And it's, there's definitely, you can just tell, you can see it from within a team whenever a company is making the effort, whenever a team or workplace is making the effort, versus whenever they're just kind of hoping that it'll figure itself out along the way.
It never does, does it? It doesn't just figure
Yeah.
itself out.
It really doesn't.
Humans build the experience, so we can make it or we can break it, because we are human, of course, and we do make mistakes, but it's about the direction that we're heading. Sometimes you end up with taking a step back because there's missteps along the way, but yeah, humanity at its finest does the most amazing work. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but it's pretty awesome stuff.
When I realized I really needed to meet you was when I was watching one of your talks and someone was bringing up these issues and saying, well, I saw it get better at my company. And your response to that was perfect. It was just like, well, if it's getting better, someone is doing something, and it is very much a conscious effort. It doesn't just happen that way. And I was like, that's my kind of person.
I remember that he was trying to argue against me that you don't have to work to be inclusive, and he basically said, well, it didn't used to be and now it is. I'm like, well, yeah, because people did the work, dude. Well, I had forgotten that. That's funny. Yes, it does. It takes dedicated people who are, and it takes people who are in places of power to empower others and to even cede some of their power over to others. So if you're in a place of privilege, you have to use that privilege to help others have privilege. You have to use that place of power to help others have power, because if you don't give away power, if you don't share that, it's not going to change. And it's like that idea of, one candle lighting a million other candles. I mean, assuming it's a long enough candle to light a million candles, right? But one flame lighting a million flames doesn't lose any of the intensity of that original flame.
Right.
Empowering others doesn't take away your power. It just shares that with other people to be empowered too. And I think that, in DEIB, we have to remember that we're not losing anything by bringing other people up into the ranks with us and making people feel, not just make them feel welcome, but be welcomed, and creating spaces that are safe, and allowing people to live their true selves and be empowered to do that. And it's just, it's good work. It's really good work.
And I have to also reemphasize that, it has to start at the top, and it doesn't need just buy-in, it needs active engagement from leadership of the company. You can, grassroots will help, but it only gets you so far if the rest of the company isn't there to support it.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to, we have to have things in place that are endorsed by and engaged with the people at the top. Absolutely. If anything is going to succeed. So yeah, I agree. I appreciate that very much. So tell us how we learn more about your company. If people are interested in applying, I don't know if you have any job openings now, but at some point in time, you definitely will, because that's how businesses work. How do we find your website? How do they find out more about applying? Twitter, how do we talk to you? Give us the details.
Sure, yeah. So probably the best way is to go to our website, pmc.com. That's Penske Media Corporation. And so there's information about the company there, about what brands we have. And also, to be clear, we actually run these brands. We're a media company. We own these, we operate these, we work day to day with the teams and staff that are writing content and working with those businesses. So we're not an agency, which some people get a little bit confused about whenever we start talking about what we do. So if you go to pmc.com, you'll get more info there. All of our jobs are posted there as well. Although I'm not super happy with the way that our jobs page looks today. So if you are interested, I don't know a great other way, unless somebody who works here and can email us or meet us at a conference or something and let us know. I do have a Twitter account, but I'm going, oh yeah, I haven't logged into Twitter in a while. So
well,
but I guess I could start paying attention to that. So you can find me at Mint Indeed, like mint, like the leaf, and Indeed, like the job board, ironically, on Twitter. So that's another way. And even if you're not even sure you're looking for a job or of the ilk, happy to just meet people, talk to people, even just talking about what we do and why we do it and how we've done some of the things we do. Love engaging folks on things like that.
That's awesome.
And we are hiring. We're hiring WordPress engineers and DevOps engineers at the moment. So that info, you can either reach out to me on the Twitter, which I now promise I will check occasionally,
I love it.
or on our website if you can navigate our jobs section. Okay. And we've kind of, I've been here long enough where I've seen the needle move from us occasionally having an open position as we've acquired brands and needed more help. But these days our team is of the size where we pretty much always have a position open. So even if you don't see something listed right now, chances are that there will be soon. So always feel free to reach out. And that's where getting me on Twitter might help.
There you go. Or if you're in the post status Slack, you can entertain a DM there, I'm sure too.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap up this session?
Nothing comes off the top of my head.
That's okay. No worries.
But
well, I really appreciate you taking the time to share a little bit more about what PMC does. And I always love the opportunity to talk about inclusiveness, as you know. And so this has been a great conversation. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. And we'll see everybody probably next week, where I interview other people in WordPress. So until then, take care.